Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Getting rushed coming home from work. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Just that my colleagues decided to go after work, and yeah.
Oh, yeah. Always the
Yep.
case, right?
Yep.
Anyway, so let's talk about Bizarrekult.
Sure.
I guess the best place to start is, for those not familiar with you guys, can you give us like the 2-sentence boardroom elevator pitch?
Yeah, but the band, right?
Yes.
No, so Bizarrekult is kind of post-black metal music. That is, I'm the main person responsible for lyrics and music. And it's in a way exists in two forms, like a studio project and a live project, which is in a way sometimes feels like two separate entities, but it's connected.
Are there different players involved with both those different entities?
Yeah, that's the main thing is like because the live band is separated from the right, like I'm writing the music and lyrics, and then the live band, they are performing the music with me.
Okay. What's been the response to the new record? I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm gonna try it. Alt some
Yep.
finds?
Yep. Also Finns.
Okay, I was right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the response was pretty good. It's like for me, it is a really important record in terms of the text material and also the music. So yeah, at some point you think like the response doesn't matter that much, because the most important thing is to have things done in a certain way. So to be like to stand by your creative output in a way, like, okay, it's important to do things in a certain way, to say specific words, to write specific things.
Right.
And this becomes in a way the most important thing. Like, okay, fine if somebody appreciates that and so on, but at the same time, just to like really explain, is like, it's not about being egoistic. It's just about like, being confident in what you're doing.
I think that gets
and
to what
not think,
I think that gets to what being a true artist is, though, right? Because if you're doing it for everyone else or how they think about it, then you're not really being true to yourself, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's in a way you can say it's about being authentic, but I know, it's like let's say there's no aim to be this or that. It's just about, I'm doing the things the certain way I would like to do those things.
Mhm.
And then, well, it's like, I don't think about, I don't know, if label likes it or if
Right.
somebody else in the world likes it. It's in a way, it doesn't matter, as long as, let's say the artistic idea itself is the key.
Right. Okay. So Altsam Fins feels like staring into the eye of a storm. How much of that chaos was intentional and how much was just survival?
Well, I don't know. It's sometimes, you think about this like, okay, well, everything you do is like now we're talking now we're in 26, right? And things that you when you work is not really appropriate work, but when you have something that comes from you, it's more like, it is a snapshot in time, right?
Hmm.
And I think this is the most important aspect of it, is like some of this, especially the lyrical content. It's first and foremost, it's a snapshot of where I was at some point of time, like literally 2 years ago or something like this. And that's it. And it's like when you look back, this is something that we often discuss with the guys in my live band. Is like when we go on stage, we try to recreate, or not really try to recreate, but it's like for me, it's like I'm going back into the emotions or the feelings that I had at a specific point of view, and just live through emotions and thoughts and feelings that I had at a specific point of time. And then you kind of go out of it again because it's somewhere there in the past.
So do you think the music then guides you out of that chaos, or does it make the darkness more articulate?
Well, no, I think it's let's say, it's more like, it's hard to say, because for me it's more like at some point it becomes indistinguishable from what I am. If to put it very easy in a way, but it sounds very complicated, because when you would say, okay, well, I am the music, I am the text, in a way that what happens there is true. And for me, it's not really guiding me out, but it's like, there are certain feelings and certain things that happened through my life that are in a way memorized into the music and text, and then it's just there. It's like you can go in there, you can in a way like experience it both in a way first person and third person, and see, oh, okay, right, and at the same time experience the feelings or live through lyrics again, and
Visceral, though,
then
right?
go out of it. Yeah.
That's visceral.
Yeah, it's really visceral. It's more like, and I mean, this is interesting in a way that when you are done with the music, let's say you send the record to the label and it's out somewhere and you hear it, it's like, okay, that's interesting. But then at the same time, let's say when we go on stage, you go into the music, and you really feel, you feel this specific emotion, or you feel this despair and things like that. You just experience it again for those 4 or 5 minutes on stage as the song goes on, and then you're out of it again, and it's like, oh wow, like you totally lose the time, you totally lose the sense of the time, and it's just, you just live the moment again.
So you're like a different person from the stage gate or the stage door to the stage.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely yes. And I mean, this has been, it's like it's been noticed by many people, like people I know, or like, just people that have been to shows. They were like almost saying like, actually, like these are like, they feel it's like it's almost like two different people, or like they asking questions if they see me after the show, like, oh, you were just on stage, and I'm like, yeah, that was actually me.
Right.
And I mean, it's not about making, like some bands use, I don't know, makeup or costumes. It's like there's no makeup or costumes. It's just like the the feeling or the overall emotion that you put into stage presence is totally different from if I'm, let's say, we are just talking outside somewhere in unrelated context.
Okay. You added guest vocalist for this one for the first time in your work. What did that bring to the table that you think your voice couldn't?
So let's put it like this. It's like when I'm writing music, I write the vocal melodies as well, and then I'm thinking like, okay, well, here it could have benefited from a slightly different voice, like timbre or type of the voice. let's say like in the track that's called Dröm, which is Dream, there it's on purpose. There's a female vocalist that is screaming, and then it makes sense because in the dream you can experience that you are a different person, right? So that was my initial idea, that okay, in the dream everything can happen, and if I replace my screaming with a female screaming, then first people would not always notice that, but that's the whole point. But then in certain areas, it's like, let's say in another track that is called Emptiness or Tomhet in Norwegian, I have this Danish vocalist, Kim from band Møl, and there we actually sing in Norwegian, in English, both of us. There the idea was also that his voice is a little bit more, as we discussed with him, because we were at his home and talking about things. And then he was like, okay, let's do those lyrics in this place as like, it's like an open emotional nerve. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. This is how I think that's the best thing to convey it. So for me, it's more like, let's put it like this. I see myself in this regard as like a classical composer or something, like, there's a whole like palette of voices that could be there to put the ideas, to make the ideas the way they are. And then sometimes it's also a trial and error, like, because sometimes I also tried with a few other people that didn't make it to the final record. It's just like, okay, well, we'll try to do it, record it, and we listen to it. Okay, sorry, it doesn't sound right. Okay, well, it's okay. No hard feelings about that.
Right. What was it like recording Tomhet into English or writing in English? Because that's a way different from your Norwegian dialect.
Yeah.
Is it hard expressing?
You see, it's like, for me, it's a lot of this, both music and lyrics, is in a way, unconscious. It's just that when I'm writing lyrics, sometimes, or very often actually, is that if I have a piece of music and I listen to it when I walk in the forest or somewhere, and I listen to it, and just, in a way, you look up for words that just come in your mind, and like, okay, well, I don't know why, but for no particular reason, then like there's some English words that just come up in my mind. I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like here I can do a Norwegian, an English lyrics piece, and I just decided to keep it, and then it makes sense. At the end of the day, the whole thing that is kind of funny and exciting, but also interesting, is that at the end of the day, it all makes sense, because this specific lyrics is about that actually the feelings that I experienced there are not unique, specific for one particular person,
Right.
but actually we all share this, and it has this line that we are the legion of empty shells. And then we also made it with Kim there, that we use different types of screams and growls at the end of the track, where we kind of try to make this, chorus of different voices to just highlight that the feelings that I experienced here, or this feeling of emptiness and lost, are in a way universal to so many people. So in a way, it makes sense. Yeah.
So here's a deeper one then. Let's just go one step deeper. If all there is pain, powerlessness, and fleeting beauty, is creating art an act of defiance or just a slower form of surrender?
Well, so if we go back to this, the whole concept about all there is like, when I was reading the book from Daniel Kahneman, he's he's economist, but also mathematician.
Mm-hmm.
So what he was, the whole phrase, this all there is basically the quote from this book, is what you see is all there is. And I actually used the whole quote in one of the tracks there and the album. And that basically means that we take decisions based on the information that we have at every specific moment. And then at The problem is that these decisions, like at this moment, the brain treats the information as, okay, what we know is what exists, right? And what we don't know, for our brains, it doesn't exist, even though it exists, right? Because me, you, everybody else, we have, in a way, limited knowledge of everything that happens around us, even if we look, I don't know, even if it can be like about our closest people or the family, or can be our employee at work, our friends. It's anyway, the knowledge is in a way limited, so that we know only part of the picture. But for at the same time, for us, it makes sense that, okay, this is all we know and this is the only thing that exists. But at the same time, it's not, because there's so much outside this, let's say, field of view or area of knowledge that actually is there. And then the problem that it causes is that you take decisions and then you are not ready for something else that happens, because there are things that happen that are not controlled, or you don't take them into consideration. And for me, basically, the personal story is that so much has happened in my life the last 2-3 years, specifically because I was not aware of things. And it doesn't mean that if I would have been aware of things, I would have done something about it. It's just about how you look, like how it changed your perspective on how you see, your own life and like things that are happening around you. Because if you think that you actually are in control of things, then the reality actually hits you much harder when you accept that, okay, my area of understanding and knowledge is limited to only what I know. Yes, and it's not because I want to limit myself, but because it's not possible to know absolutely everything. And then
You know
indeed
what
it
you don't
becomes
know.
like,
You can't
it's
know what
like,
you don't
okay,
know.
well, yeah, exactly. I don't know what other people think. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what my neighbors think. I don't know what my wife would think. And, then things just happen, not because I hadn't thought about it, but because, okay, this is how life is. And that's why I decided to use both this concept for one of the songs, but also like use this as a name, because it sounds very overarching, like all there is, like it sounds like very philosophical.
Yeah.
It is all there is. But at the same time, when you look at this from a creative point of view, or the music that I wrote and the text that I wrote is all there is for me at this specific point of view. And of course, there's so much more outside there, but it doesn't matter because I don't know about it, right?
Right.
So this makes it very personal, but at the same time very universal to every person, basically, because this is how our brain functions. To make it very simple.
I 100% agree with you. Your lyrics explore dreams and despair and consumerism, right? Which of these is the greatest villain in your opinion, capitalism or just mere existence?
I think it's a very interesting and complicated question, because how do you define the villain? What is the villain,
I guess, yeah.
right? Because I mean, okay, well, you can say, okay, you can talk about politics, you can think about consumerism, you can think about capitalism, socialism, whatever ism it is. But at the end of the day, it goes back again to this concept that what you know is all there is, right? So there are certainly maybe better options or better opinions or better things, but you don't know about them, or you haven't thought about them. So it's more like, when you talk about acceptance, um, it does mean that you have to be like, I accept everything and I just do everything that I'm told of.
Right.
But it's more about, I accept the things that happen in my life to what degree that if I, if something happened that I haven't done anything against it, okay, I have to accept it, because otherwise I will regret about things I haven't done, right?
So I know I'm going to go
So,
deeper here if you don't mind. We're going to stay with this. Can we stay here
sure.
for 1 second?
Yeah, sure, go.
Do you believe we are ever truly in control of our direction, or are we just riding waves until they break?
That's very interesting because I've listened just recently to some neuroscientists and biologists that were actually challenging the whole concept of free will and how much actually we decide and how much is actually in a way wired into our biological existence. So I think it's in a way beyond what we understand to some extent, and mm, in one of the books, or actually it was also in podcast with Eckhart Tolle, the guy who wrote the book The Power of Now.
Yeah.
He was saying that okay, so if you think about we people are the surface of the ocean, right? And then you are just a small tiny wave on this surface, and then you can be focused on that there are other waves around you. Some can be bigger, some can be more beautiful or weaker, and you can be focused on that. But what is important is that beyond the surface, everything is the same in a way. And then with this regard, I think it's very interesting to in a way conceptualize and a little bit think a little bit more about this, that right, we can find as many meanings and purposes in life as we want, but then when we strip down it all, very little remains. When we strip down all identities that we have, cultural, I don't know, ethnical, whatever it is, country, politics, everything, if we remove it all, then there's there's nothing to argue about.
Right. We'll leave it right there. What's next for you guys? Or for you, are you putting this on the road at all, or any kind of one-off shows or festivals?
So we just played 1 week ago. We just played on this Inferno Festival in Oslo,
Yeah.
which was really great because we actually managed to also have Yusuf from Dødheimsgård, who is a guest on second track on the album. We made it to stage together with him. That's like one of a lifetime experience, because we're not sure if we'll ever manage to do this again with him. But then we are going to play on one of the biggest festivals in Germany, Sunbreeze, in the summer.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's something else happening with the shows. But yeah, I didn't know about that yet. Something will happen. I don't know. Again, it's outside of my vision. But then I'm going to sit down and write the next album. It's like something is in the works. It's hard to say when it will be finished, but somewhere. Yeah.
That is all I had. I hope that wasn't too bad. I know it took you a little deeper than you normally go, but
No. But that's perfect. I like deeper conversations.
yeah, figured I like to just talk and see where it ends up. So excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you
the
for
best
taking
way.
the time. Go get some dinner and relax from work, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thank you
Cheers.
so much.
All right. Bye.
Have a good one.
You
Bye.
too.